We sold everything we own. And you know what? Do we have some regrets or do we not? Selling everything that you own is really emotional and hard.
Yeah, it is. But let's get started from the beginning. We're Chris and Steve, EatWalkLearn. We have been traveling the world full time for more than 4 years now. And this is a beginning of a series to talk about your launch process and how you start from sitting on your Barca lounger to enjoying a life of full-time travel.
Do you think people are really sitting on their Barca loungers?
I do.
Are you on a Barca lounger? Let us know. No, but I do think a lot of people who watch our videos, they watch us and they're like, that's really interesting. That's something I hadn't thought about. Or living a full-time traveling life as a nomad, I hadn't thought about that before. How do you do it?
When did we make that decision to travel full-time and sell everything that we owned? And I think we have to go back almost...
We need to do this.
The Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine.
I think we need to go back to 10 years ago.
Oh my God, 10 years ago.
When we were doing a lot of traveling.
2016 or whatever, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we were both still working. And I think it was really the impetus was you made the decision to retire.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, I didn't even make the decision to retire. I kind of got told I was retiring. I worked for corporate America. There was reorganizing, downsizing, and so on and so forth. And they gave me a new job. And the new job, I just did not like. It didn't suit me. It wasn't my skills. And my manager was like, "You're going to love it. You're great. You're our 18 player. We're really glad to have you." And I'm thinking, no. So anyway, long story short, I ended up resigning and thinking that I was going to go to my competitor. And then when I talked to my financial planner, she's like, no, you're good. I mean, the planning that you were doing since 22 has paid off and you can retire early. You're fine. I was like, well, how about that? I guess I'm retired.
Yes.
But that's not your story.
But that's not my story. And because we keep our finances separately, when we started talking about retirement and me being able to retire, I still had some work to do. And at this point, we were really just getting into looking at the FIRE movement and looking at...
What's FIRE stand for?
FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early.
Right.
And I thought I was going to have to work forever. So that whole idea of retire early just was not in my vocabulary. So starting to learn about that and starting to start spreadsheets of, I'm the spreadsheet king of what does retirement really look like? And what's my number? And how much money do I need to be able to say, I don't need to work anymore for the rest of my life?
Yeah. So at that time you figured out, because I was retiring, and you looked at your spreadsheets and you came back to me and you said, okay, I think 5 years. I think I can do this in 5 years. I can retire in 5 years. And which actually coincided with our daughter graduating from high school. So the timing worked out perfectly. And so we tentatively kind of set 5 years up. We eventually actually circled a date on the calendar, but I don't think at that time we actually circled the date, but we knew it was 5 years out.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out what I was going to do for 5 years. Steve really cranked up his career, actually changed jobs. He got Rookie of the Year at 61 years old in his new job. And we figured out, we rebalanced our portfolio and moved some things around and paid off a few things. And were able to get in position so that Steve could retire on his 5-year plan.
Right. In this particular video, we're talking about the decision to sell everything that we owned.
So how did we get there?
That was a big emotional decision. But for me, it was really a little bit more logical than emotional because we talked about my spreadsheet.
Men. God forbid if they talk about their emotions, but let me get a spreadsheet. Let me look at my spreadsheet and I'll tell you if I'm okay.
Here's emotions. I love my spreadsheet. How's that for emotions?
You love it so much you're going to marry it?
And my spreadsheet said, you cannot keep all of your things and keep your lifestyle that you have now and travel the world or travel with any kind of extension. It would be layered on top of all of your expenses that you currently have. So it really was a realization, an emotional realization.
How'd that make you feel, honey?
That made me feel that I wanted a lifetime experience in retirement of experiences and not stuff. And I was willing to get rid of all of the things that I owned. So we had a 4-bedroom house. We had 2 cars. We had a garage full of bicycles and golf clubs.
We had five bikes between the two of us.
Yeah.
I mean, like, why do you need 5 bikes?
Of course you need
We need a
5
cruiser.
bikes.
We need a mountain bike. We needed a road bike.
Yeah.
Our kid had a bike too.
But yeah, we had camping. I mean, just think about a house just full of things and full of heirlooms and full of things that we're really, really attached to. We're going to do a little fast forward and a little rewind now. What do we have now?
Yeah.
We don't own a house. We don't have bikes. We don't have anything. We have 2 carry-on suitcases.
Yeah, and 2 backpacks.
2 suitcases that you could put in the overhead bin, and 2 backpacks, 2 small backpacks
day packs,
that
like
fit
book
under
bags.
the seat. Right. This is how our lifestyle.
You know what I think about when people ask us like what we have? I think about we don't check our bag. Occasionally we have to check our bag because of weight requirements or sizes or whatever. And I think about if our bags went missing and the airline said, "What's in your bag?" You know, a lot of people, I think they'd really have to kind of think about what's in there. I'm like, I know exactly what's in there. 9 pairs of underwear, 3 pairs of socks, 5 shirts, 3 pairs of shorts. You know, I could like make, and the brands and how much I paid for them and everything. And that's it. That's everything I own.
So we don't have a storage unit. We have a safe deposit box that has some important documents in it and some jewelry in it. But otherwise, we don't own anything. And there was that point and that realization that we're going to sell it all. And also, at that point, we talked about the FIRE movement. We were watching other videos and reading other things from people who were traveling full time and living that kind of lifestyle. And just like you're watching this video.
Yeah, but there weren't really a lot of people at that.
No,
I mean, this is before COVID. This is before this digital nomad revolution. This is back when, hippies, there was like the hippie trail and that type of thing. But there wasn't really this movement of, now you hear people say, "Oh, I left corporate America. I sold everything." And a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people watch our videos because we have talked about that. But there weren't a lot of us back then.
Yeah.
So anyway, so back to your feelings, honey, right? To your feelings. So you make this conscious decision that when you retire in 5 years, that you want to have a life of experience and not a life of things.
It took a while for that to evolve, but at some point I had that realization that at this point in the future, we're going to retire. I'm going to retire. We're going to sell everything, and we're going to leave.
So when Steve came to me and he said, my spreadsheet says that I can't have all this stuff and have experiences. I want to live experiences. I was ecstatic. I was ready to go. I was like, I can't wait to get rid of my stuff. The feeling, I kept thinking it's going to be freedom. It's going to be freeing. It's going to be, not have liabilities, not have to worry about stuff. Because the more stuff you have, the more you worry about stuff. Like, stuff makes you worry and all the liabilities that go along with that. I was ecstatic. I couldn't wait to get rid of my stuff. So, but you were a little bit emotional about some things you didn't want to get rid of.
Yeah, there were certain things that that I had attachments to. I had some antiques, some heirlooms. I had some photos from my parents, from my grandparents, and it's like, well, I need to get rid of all of my pictures. That's a real challenge, because you look at these photos and it's this attachment to the past. So there were definitely some things that I wanted to hold on to. Yeah.
So keep watching, because we're gonna share some emotions about some of the things we had to get rid of, and we're gonna tell you about the series that's coming up to help you. We're gonna hold your hand and we're gonna give you virtual hugs. If you're thinking about getting rid of all your stuff, we're actually gonna guide you through doing that. Well, for me, it was a pair of shoes. And this is so ridiculous, because the pair of shoes, I can't remember the brand of the shoes, but it was, I'll think of it here. I'll put a picture up here of the shoes. But they were these high-end, super expensive, handmade shoes that were really funky, and they represented like the peak of my career, and getting rid of them was like getting rid of my career. And I was really successful in my career. It let me retire at 49, you know?
How about you got those shoes because you were a clogger?
No. And I was just really sad to get rid of them. It was, you know, I felt like I was passing on my career to someone I didn't even know who I was passing it on to.
Yeah. But, you know, in retirement, you're already letting go of those things because, well, when would you wear those shoes again?
I don't know, but just having to get rid of them was like throwing out my education, my career. That's how I felt.
I mean, I had a tie rack that must have had 80 neckties. And, you know, we left during COVID. So it had actually been a year since I had worn any of those ties.
Yeah, that's true.
So there were some things that were, I think COVID made it a little bit easier to get rid of some things because we just weren't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, especially career clothes. But another thing I really, I had collected a lot of art, and I had this one piece of art that represented, I got it while I did this, I got involved in the environmental movement in Florida and was involved in getting a 5,000 acre park created. And this piece of art represented that battle and getting the park created. I mean, we went to Congress and we got legislation passed. It was this big, big deal of something I had done. And I'm really proud of the park I got created. And that artwork represented that park. So again, it was one of those pieces of it. Not only did I like the art, but it represented some success in my life that I felt like by getting rid of it, I no longer would have a something to remind me of that success.
Right. So we're again with the emotions of it and with having things that we really didn't want to get rid of. We'll get into some more details of that in the next video, but we had kids that we were able to give our things to and not have to wait until we died for them to get our things and get those things that was part of our, you know, of their inheritance. So it was really a great feeling to be able to pass those things on and let our kids know about those emotional attachments and about the feelings that were attached to those while we were still, you know, living and
be
breathing.
able to tell the stories that go with the items together. I think the last thing that was really hard for me to get rid of was our dog.
Well, I don't think we...
Zeus,
we're not going to change that.
Our giant schnauzer, Zeus. We didn't get rid of him, but we had a family member who'd take the dog, and which was fantastic.
Who was
very excited to have the dog, and her dog had passed. She was very excited to have our dog, but even still, you know, when you get a pet, you think you're going to keep the pet until the pet passes. That's what good pet owners do. And for me to think that I'm going to give my pet to someone else, even though it was, you know, staying in the family and moving on, it was still very emotional to drive my dog from Denver to San Diego and say goodbye to him. I saw him many times, and he passed recently, but I saw him many times before he died. But it was still very, very heart-wrenching to, you know, dislocate my dog.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough decision. And also, you know, other friends that we said goodbye to when we left Denver, Colorado, and decided to travel the world. There's a lot of things that we left behind, a lot of familiar things, familiar places, familiar people that we saw, you know, every day, the group that I went cycling with every Saturday.
My hiking pals that you biked on Saturdays and I hiked on Saturdays and had to say goodbye to those habits, those behaviors, and those friends. So,
Exactly.
And had to make new ones. Do you have any regrets?
I do not have any regrets. I was trying to think of some things that there are possibly some things that I might have done a little bit differently, but the idea of taking everything that I own and getting rid of all of my stuff, all of my possessions, and living a life of experiences.
No regrets.
No regrets, no looking back. It has been amazing experiences for the last 4+ years, and who knows how long we're going to do this. There's a lot of additional places that we want to see. I made the decision that I want to see the
Dalai Lama.
the Dalai Lama.
Why not?
And so we're going to start making those plans.
But, you know, so in this roller coaster of getting rid of your stuff, like there's highs and there's lows, of course, that's what a roller coaster is. But if you were to as a mathematician, could you do this on the spreadsheet? I don't know. You got all these ups and downs. I think if you were to flatten out the ups and downs, it would, it would be a high rather than a low.
A lot more ups than downs. It wouldn't be a very good roller coaster. It would just keep going up.
It'd be the reverse of an alpine slide.
Yeah, it'd be one of those this is a really bad roller coaster.
Anyway, so in the series coming up, what we're going to do next is we are going to help you develop your timeline for selling all your stuff and getting on the road. It could be a 2-week timeline or it could be a 2-year timeline, but it's the same things you have to do in order to be able to get out of the door and into a plane or a car or however you're going to leave. So that's what our next week's video will be about, is that timeline. And then we'll be getting into how to get rid of particular things. How do you get rid of your photos? How do you get rid of mattresses? How do you get rid of heavy things you can't move? All these things, we're going to talk about those and give you strategies and tips for how we did it. You're welcome to steal all those strategies and tips and do it yourself. You may have your own way you do it. We're going to talk about our way, and it was very successful and very effective and very affordable on how we got rid of all of our stuff. We're going to share all that in the next series of videos coming up. Thanks for following. Make sure you like and you subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell. Ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Hit that bell because that tells YouTube that you like our videos and that you want them to come to your feed. That helps us out very much. Thank you. We'll talk to you guys. See you next week.